right? We all know life and death is in the tongue. You can speak life over somebody, but you can also speak death. And it's funny that these gatekeepers, these people that are already successful, these grifters, they always speak death over other people, saying, no, there's something systemic. There's something that's holding you back, right, because of the color of your skin. So when you see these type of poetic artwork displayed through Hollywood, like Karen, it's so much stereotype and propaganda. You have to ask these people, hey, it's wrong. Wrong is wrong. Would you like it if they made a movie, a white director made a movie called Shaquisha?
What's going on, America? This is Oliver Mack, and I have a very special guest today with me. This is Craig Long.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? I'm so excited to have you on the show. I know you're a monster when it comes to this conservative thing and this Instagram thing, this TikTok thing. So I'm very excited to have this conversation with you, man. I know it's going to be, some real heavy hitters in terms of the topic. So
most definitely.
Before we get started, I just kind of wanted you to give the people an idea of who you are and how you got started.
To keep it simple, I'm a pissed off American. Pretty much. I'm a pissed off American that knows a lot of the things that's going on in our society in America is wrong. And it's just a bunch of malarkey. And because of that, I felt obligated. I felt it was my duty, my responsibility, and obligation to speak out and be a voice. I don't want to say accidentally, but I never thought that it would get to where it is now. But be a voice for a lot of people that may be afraid to speak out, or maybe they don't know how to articulate their words. So using my own anecdote experience in life in America, I used my own story. I started speaking out. And I guess with like all my social handles is like Instagram is real Craig Long 45. Everywhere else is Craig Long 45. You'll notice the 45 behind the name. And that the reason why I did that was our 45th president, which was Trump, was like my debut. That was when I started, like things were amplified of the BS. And I started like, wait a minute. It got to the point where I couldn't hold it in. I had to say something, right? This was around the time when all the destruction of Black Lives Matter was going on, and the poor leadership, the destructive things that they were advertising and perpetuating on national TV through media outlets of rioting and looting, and that's people's reparations. So when I saw that type of stuff, the destruction, and then using my own experience as a Black man in America, I knew that a lot of it wasn't true. I was brought up in a military home when my father was in the military. So those conservative values run deep just within my family. But like we all know, just using Americans that are Black in this country, it's instilled in us naturally conservative values. So, but across the board, the country was built off of conservative values, Judeo values, right? So it's really sad to see that our society and our country is veering away from that. And as you can see, there's a lot of bonkers stuff out here. We literally live in a clown world. And if you don't challenge it, then the wrong will proceed on to conquer the good, right? So using your voice like myself and like yourself, we tend to challenge the narratives, destroy the narratives, and give people a different perspective to make them think, whether it's logic, whether it's through logic or through facts, or even opinion, right? Through your own experiences, whatever that might be. We're challenging what they're trying to make the status quo, like what they're trying to make the norm. So that's kind of how I got into it. I do have a unique story. To keep it brief, a lot of times, especially the people on the left, that they're not used to seeing Black conservatives, period. There's not a lot of us, let alone one that doesn't third-party talk, that comes from those areas that they love to glorify. The common denominator, the hood, right? The ghetto, someone that lived in the hood, grew up in the hood, played around in the hood, did crime to the point where my decisions led me into getting in trouble. So I'm someone that been in and out of trouble since the age of 15. I went straight to prison at the age of 18 didn't come home till I was 25, came home with nothing. All I had was $25 for a bus ticket that I didn't use, and a box of arbitrary stuff that didn't matter out here in society, and a paper ID. Paper ID now, you hear it, oh, it's racist to have people have an ID to vote, but yet when you're released from prison, they give you a paper ID. Yeah. So, but I'll digress on that. So basically, long story short, I've messed up. I know the culture. I've lived it. I've made the decisions, personal decisions that led me, and there wasn't a system, wasn't the white man or the man. It wasn't some mystical white supremacy, racist white dust floating around that I breathed in that made me commit the crimes that I did. Wow. So it landed me 6 years in prison. To be more in depth, I shot 2 people point blank range. I served my time, first time felon for what I got in trouble for. So people understand. I took the plea. I wasn't a fool and tried to fight something that I knew I did when they had witnesses and everything else. I did have a public defender that did a good job with what they had, right? So served my time from 2009, turned things around. Like 8 years later now, I own a brick and mortar business, very successful gym owner. I have an online business. Obviously, I'm a commentator for the conservative movement, right? But I use my story to inspire people that, yes, it doesn't matter where you come from or what decisions you made, how you messed up, fouled up, you can turn it around through your decisions, your personal decisions, changing your personal philosophy, exercising the habits that are going to position you to have better opportunity, position you to have more success. And I did that over time. And I promise you, using my own anecdotal experience, you can do it too, whoever it is out there listening. To put more icing on the cake, and I'll end it there, not only did I serve time as a felon for a very violent crime, which I'm not proud of, I spend the rest of my life now serving other people. It's my way of righting my wrongs, right? But I paid my debt to society. In the same America where they say this system is so racist towards Black and brown people, it's systemic and we can't get ahead, but it's not true. This same country has a balance scale. If you live a good life and change your life around, they are able, the system is built to see a balance scale. Now, is there flaws in the system? Yes, of course. But in my case, I'm a story of many others that you can turn things around no matter where you come from and what you did, and inspire people and do great things. So I was able to receive all my civil rights back. And most of all, I was able to receive my Second Amendment rights back. So today, till this day, I have a concealed carry, and I'm able to run around here like a policeman with a concealed carry firearm. So you can run up on me if you want to. That's on you. But I am somebody that advocates the Second Amendment. But to keep it short, in a nutshell, that is who Craig Long 45 is. And I don't play no games. I'm just like my homeboy here, Oliver. We're going to call it for what it is. People love the urban slang word based. I think both of us are going to have a base conversation here, being unapologetic in our stance and in our opinion on a lot of what's going on. So let's get, like our homeboy says, Brandon Tatum,
let's get into this. Yes, sir. Hey man, that's a great redemption story. I applaud you. That is awesome. You know, you came from where you were to where you are now. It's just amazing. And like you said, if you could do it, anybody could do it. And that's, the same thing that I preach to my people. If I could do it, if I can make it out of the hood of New Orleans, you could do the same thing. There's nothing holding you back, nothing holding you down. And your story is a story of that, because you've been through the same stuff that my brother's been through, but he's going through it now. He's in prison right now. He's been in prison for 12 years. Before that, he was in prison for 5 years, got out while I was in high school. So, yeah, I mean, I see that all the time, and we see that a lot in the Black community. But a lot of us are telling each other that there's no way out of that lifestyle. There's no way out of that type of mentality, but there definitely is. And if you start thinking the way that, people like you and I think in a conservative type mindset, a non-victim mindset, then you can definitely do great things in this country, because that's what this country was built for. It is the land of opportunity. And they say that for a good reason, because anybody coming to these shores, coming to America from any other country there is, can come here and build a great life for themselves. There's people that have come from the poorest places in Africa, and they come here and they start businesses and they thrive. People that come from Nigeria make more money than white people when they come here. Like this is definitely the land of opportunity, and the American dream can be realized for anybody.
Absolutely.
So one thing I want to ask you, and this will kind of segue into our first topic, but have you ever been canceled? So Black conservatives, of course, I think we have it the worst in terms of any other conservative, because 90% of the Black community votes Democrat, 80% of the Black community votes Democrat. So all of our family and friends that we hang around, they're usually Democrats. So we meet a lot of opposition. So have you ever been canceled as a Black conservative by family, friends, or anybody else?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I have people that were close friends of mine that have yet to call me. They won't call me. And I make the initiative to reaching out to them.
Yeah.
They'll text, but they will not pick up the phone. Close friends, which I thought were close friends, but since I stepped out the box and started speaking out, going against the grain, it really showed who is really with me. I've lost family members. Family members have cut me off. I've gotten texts where they say you're dead to me, because they don't like my stance because I supported Trump. It's unfortunate. Obviously online, I've been canceled. Just today, I literally didn't do anything. I know how to play the game as far as these platforms guidelines. They banned me from going joint live with somebody else, just saying that my integrity for the app, blah, blah, blah. So they banned me for a couple of weeks. So the online game. But most of all, my worst cancel experience I've had since I've started speaking out was I have a brick and mortar business. Yeah. Like I said, I own a gym. I lost a lot of members. And let me put it in perspective. So people say, well, you can't bring your politics and your beliefs into your gym. I don't. I do very well in keeping it separate. But unfortunately, just like you, we're all over the internet. Right. A lot of our videos and the content that we make has gone viral. We have large support, large followings on our platforms. So even with me doing all that I can to keep it separate from my brick and mortar business, people still know who I am. They know my stance. And when I started coming out, man, no matter what I did to keep it separate, people were canceling. They weren't honoring their agreements as far as memberships and things like that. And they actually spammed. I had the left spam. They actually find me and spam my business with 1-star reviews. So if you go there today, you will be able to see that my business was spammed with 1-star reviews. So the cancel culture is very intolerant. I wish there was a way that we can combat it, but we all know that the left runs all the major institutes, from academia to political administrative positions to big tech, like media, social media. I mean, you name it, they're controlling the narrative. So right now they have the upper hand, but we still can cancel them as well. Am I saying that we should feed into the cancel culture? Not necessarily, but we are in a place where we have to fight fire sometimes with fire. So, I'm not the kind of person to say, oh, we shouldn't be cancel culture. Then fuck that. Cancel culture. These people are very intolerant. They will do whatever they can to hurt you and your family. They will find your home. They will dox you. They will contact your job to try to get you fired. So we have to understand the field, the terrain at war that we're in. The war of, and that's let me say it for YouTube, that is a metaphor, YouTube, for the spiritual battle.
Not a real war.
Not a real war.
Not with guns and stuff. No, we're not talking about that.
Just a metaphorically spiritual war between good versus evil.
Culture war.
It's a culture war. Yeah. And I speak big on culture. So
I've
definitely been canceled.
Right. Yeah. And that's what it's all about, man. And a lot of people will tell me, well, we can't play the left's game. We have to.
Yeah, we have to.
Because that's the only way that's the only way that we'll win this war, is if we play their game, but we got to be better at it. So, like I said, it's a segue into what I wanted to talk about. So the first topic we're going to talk about is Dave Chappelle. So Dave Chappelle, they're trying to cancel. Yes, they're trying to cancel my man Dave Chappelle for some comments that he made in his last comedy show, The Closer. So, have you seen The Closer?
I looked at the majority of it. I haven't finished it completely. But I mean, he said a lot of things. I mean, he spoke about, he made jokes about people that's on the right, but you don't see people on the right trying to cancel him.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
he called Mike Pence a racist. Like
he called Mike Pence a racist. He referred to those people that believe in, like people that's on the right that believe in QAnon out of Michigan. I mean, you don't see people on the right canceling
like poor people, like Trump supporters are poor, like
poor white trash and all that. You know what I mean? So it's like, come on, man. This guy's a comedian. He's challenging the quota in the way that he does. Do I agree with everything that he said? On all his stances? No, but I do agree with majority of some of the stuff that he was talking about. Yeah. And the fact that they're trying to cancel him, it's beyond me. Like, and this is my thing, Oliver. Mm-hmm. We have these fake organizations, right? These catchphrase hashtags that turned into an organization, right?
Yeah.
By accident, like Black Lives Matter, that claim to represent Black problems in America, right? That's what they claim. But when you look deeper into it, it's really another rainbow flag movement. It is. Right?
All of them are. Pretty much. Then,
so if we take the Dave Chappelle situation that I'm trying to cancel, it's called the Black Coalition,
the National Black Justice Coalition. Yes.
Right. So off, they just the name. Right. So say the name again. The National
Black Justice Coalition wants to cancel a Black comedian. Yes.
Right. So the name itself, you would think, oh, it's maybe this is like an NAACP type of organization, another Black Lives Matter organization that represents Black folks and the issues centered around whatever they feel there is centered around, right? But when you dig deeper, it's actually another rainbow. It's another rainbow agenda. Yep. So, far as Americans that are Black in this country, they need to recognize that these very catchy titles that they just reading the title, you'll think that they represent Black America.
Right.
You start researching, you do a little bit more research. It's not, it's just another branch off for the rainbow community.
Right.
So, I want to make sure I point that out. But yeah, they're trying to cancel him for a lot of the stuff that he says. But obviously, you see Netflix is not, they're going to back him.
Yep. So, good job, Netflix.
Good job, Netflix. But then again, Netflix.
But they also didn't take down that QT movie either. So
they didn't take the QT movie down. They didn't take down the little girls popping, shaking their booty on the daggone. What was that show that everybody was controversial and Netflix put it up?
No, that was QT. Cutie.
That's it.
Was it Cutie, right? Yeah.
Cutie, yeah, it's Cutie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I watched it. I didn't watch like the last probably 10 minutes, but I got the gist of what he was saying. I didn't agree with everything that he said, especially when he talked about Trump supporters and Mike Pence. And there was one line where he said that I don't have a problem with the LGBT, or I don't have a problem with trans people. My problem is with white people. And then all the white people clapped. I'm like, what the hell? Like, why y'all clapping for this? So
he still was pandering. He
was pandering. So, but towards the end of the show, I kind of realized what he was doing. Like, he was making jokes about the LGBTQ community, but this whole show was pretty much an apology to the LGBTQ community. So that's kind of the way that I saw it. It was harsh, but at the end he had a message, right? Because at the end he talked about his trans friend who had committed suicide.
He actually gave his trans friend an opportunity.
Right.
And then that trans friend actually was getting bashed by the LGBTQ ABCDEFG community.
Yep, for supporting him.
Plus P.
Yeah, plus P. Yeah. We don't even want to talk about the P.
You caught that.
Talk about the P. Yeah. But that's coming. P is coming, and people just don't know. They're not aware of that. Yeah, it's definitely.
I remember it used to be just the LGB.
Yeah.
And now it's a little of it, everything else. Now it's the LGBT.
Yeah. It's something I don't. How did the L skip the G?
Oh no, man. I don't even want to know. They're gonna keep adding it. Before you know, it'll be the whole alphabet behind that damn stuff.
Yeah, it gets longer and longer. But wait, I mean, like I said, I think it was an apology to the LGBTQ community by the end of the show. I don't think he should have been canceled for that at all. I don't think any comedian should be canceled because a comedian is there to make jokes. A comedian is there to make fun of things that people may find offensive. And it's a way for us to come together, because when we can all laugh together, it brings us closer. But we're getting to the point where we can't even laugh together because one side is so offended, and then the other side, they may find it funny, but they're kind of scared to laugh because they don't want to offend the other side that's offended by laughing. So comedy is dead. Like, that's something that really, really bothers me because I've always been a big fan of comedy shows. I'm somebody who loves to laugh, loves to have fun, and I love comedians. But the fact that we're seeing all these comedians get canceled, and Dave Chappelle is actually going out there and trying to, do his thing, do what he's always done, right? Make offensive jokes. But there's a lot of comedians that are watching what is happening with Dave Chappelle, and they won't even step foot on a comedy stage and say some of the things that he said. They may have some great material that they want to get out there, but they're too afraid to say it because they're afraid they'll get canceled. Now, Dave Chappelle, he's a big name. He's been around for a long time. He's garnered a lot of respect in the industry, but there are a lot of people that are up and coming and a lot of people who are like probably 4 or 5 levels below Dave Chappelle that won't touch those jokes. They won't make any offensive jokes. They're trying to be PC as PC as possible with their jokes. So it's ruining comedy. I don't know if you remember like Def Comedy Jam and stuff like that.
They used to say whatever they wanted.
Right. And it was great. Like, it was great. I loved those times. Even though, back then I wasn't even supposed to be watching it. So I watched the clips when I got a little older, but it was great. I loved the material. I loved the things that they were saying. They were making fun of everyone. Like, you were allowed to make fun of the LGBT. You're allowed to make fun of trans. You're allowed to make fun of Black people. Like, there are a lot of white comedians that made fun of Black people, and it was seen as funny. Black people laughed at it. White people laughed at it. And it was great because it brought us together. But we are losing sight of that right now. We're losing all of that. Those things that make us human, that bring us together, are just gone. So now we have nothing but fighting between us. We have nothing but all this disdain for each other because there's nothing to bring us together. We're divided amongst political lines. We're divided amongst racial lines. And what else do we have?
Yeah, our society is changing, man, big time. Yeah. Look at right now, I don't know if you're going to touch up on it. Look at what's recently popping off with the NFL with John Gruden. Something that
it's another cancel topic. So we can get into that.
Like 10 years ago, the dude had emails that he put, private emails that he had out, and now they're making him resign. Like, if I was him, I wouldn't resign. I think he's based as hell. I think the shit he was saying is true. Some of them jokers do got some soup cooler ass lips. You know what I mean? I'll be the one to tell you. You know what I mean?
But why can't we say that though? So it's like,
but
we have jokes about white women's flat asses, right? We have jokes about white women's thin lips, right? We can say that all we want, but if a white person says anything about a Black person's big lips,
it's racist. It's anti-white, self-hatred coming from white folks, anti-white coming from the Black KKK collective groupthink. Yeah. If I got another example, we'll go back to the NFL. Remember in the NBA when I forgot the player's name, he yelled at the white dude, bitch ass white boy.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
I remember that.
Remember he did that, and then the other dude, not too long after, another dude said something. He called him boy or something like that, and they tried to make it this whole racial controversy. And I'm like, wait a minute, dude just said, called him a BA white boy. Yep. If it was in reverse, and the white dude said BA black boy, it would be all up in arms. So it's like it's a double standard.
You would have been kicked out the league,
right? And it's just like you said, like there's jokes where they talk about white folks. What's wrong with him? A lot of the stuff he was saying in them emails, I agree.
Yeah.
The NFL is, you know what I mean? I told somebody the other day, eventually they're going to have a man dressed up in like a woman doing the scorecards in the boxing ring. You know the scorecard girls?
Yeah, I know.
Eventually they
already got male cheerleaders in the NFL.
He's the first. This is the first Tyrannosaurus Rex scorecard holder. I mean, dude, it's our society is not the same. And my question to you, Oliver, is why? Are we veering away from those value systems? Are we veering away from principle? Even liberals now don't even base their liberal stance on what's right and wrong. No moral stance of what's right and wrong. Before, it used to be there could come some type of common ground.
Right.
On using a moral compass of what's right versus wrong. But now, with the liberalism we have now, is an extreme progressive liberalism.
Yep.
You know,
there's an obvious reason.
Well, let's talk about it.
So
culture.
But there's even deeper than that. So we are now in a female-led society, right? Where females are making all the decisions, females are running everything. So everything you see now is based off of emotion, right?
Yep.
So with the whole LGBTQ push, it's like, yes, we want these people to feel included. Like that's an emotional response to the LGBTQ community. It's not a logical response because we know we don't want our children doing that type of stuff, but females look at it a lot differently. They look at it like if we don't include these people, they will be left out. And if children don't know about these people, then children won't accept them. So that's a nurturing type female emotional response to the LGBT community. So that's why we're seeing a lot of these things. And if you look at the polls, a lot of the Black Lives Matter movement, a lot of the Democrat initiatives are supported by females. They're not supported by males.
Yep.
So this country is turning into
they're supported and led. They're supported
and they're led. Right. The whole Black Lives Matter movement was created by females and it's led by females. It's not led by males. If we actually talk to males about the Black Lives Matter movement, about what's going on, about how the media is lying to them and manipulating them, we can make headway with the males. But if you try to talk to females about that and try to tell them they've been lied to and manipulated, they're not going to be able to hear it because they tune that stuff out. Like their emotions are so involved in the movement that they can't hear logic and reasoning. So that's why we're in the position that we're in. I believe, this is my opinion. Now don't get mad at me, but this is how I see things. This is my opinion that I believe, because in the Black community, we have over 70% of children being raised by single mothers. So those children are being raised by single mothers. And then we have liberals who they're not raised by single mothers. The white liberals, they're not raised as much by single mothers, but there's a lot of simp fathers out there, a lot of simp men that just kind of cater to women. They want to do whatever the women say because they have been indoctrinated by Democrats to feel like females should be in charge. Like they're talking about their white privilege or their male privilege. So they're making them feel like they're evil or whatever. Yeah, just for being males. So they're relinquishing their power to females. So females are leading the charge right now in this country. Yeah. And if males don't step the F up,
look who's running our country
house. Back.
Look who's running the house.
Yeah.
For a long time now. So I posted the other day, right? What is this? This meeting is being upgraded. Oh, I posted the other day. Can you still hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you
The
good.
other day, I posted this guy put out these stats. He said 43% of boys have single mothers. Right now, before I go any further, we already know what their Messiah, Obama, they already put the
You
statistics
already
out
said
there.
it. Yep.
If you single family homes, the children are 5 times more likely to getting in trouble and living in poverty, 9 times more likely to dropping out of school, 20 times more likely to go to prison. That's single family home. This statistics is 43% of boys have single mothers. 78% of teachers are females.
Right.
So, okay, not only are they at home with their grandmama, their aunts, their mom, whatever the reason is, wherever the father is, whether it's divorced, they're locked up, he got killed, or he died, or whatever that case is, they're single family mothers. Then when they go to school, the majority of the time, the teacher is a female.
Yep.
78%. Nearly half of all boys' lives with 100% female influence at the home, and about 80% are only exposed to women at school.
Yep.
And then it goes on to say toxic masculinity isn't the problem. The problem is the lack of masculinity. When I saw that, I said, wait a minute. This is so dead on. I never thought about that. Not only are we growing up in single family homes, but when we go to school, predominantly all of the teachers are female. A lot of our influence is female. So it just goes to show, even with us knowing the stats of just growing up in a single family home, but then we go a little bit deeper. Now we're being taught, we have different influences. Even there's some Boy Scouts where the woman is running the Boy Scouts.
Yep.
It's like,
and they let girls into the Boy Scouts. So
it's like, so the influence when it comes to a female influence, it is great in a boy's life. It just goes to show you how important it is to have a balance. I'm not saying we don't need women, but what I am saying is we most definitely need men.
Right.
As our society, as you see it, we have women operating in a masculine role, right? The reason why we can't challenge anything that they stand for or say is because they not only operate out of emotion, that's exactly it. You get a toxic feminine personality, a female operating in a masculine role. So it's like I always say when I call the guys beta male shaquishas. It's a man that was raised by his mama and his grandmama and adopted feminine toxic behavior. And now walks around passively aggressive with daddy issues and acting like his damn mama. So our society is moving to that. We have a lot of betas. We're missing the masculinity in our society. And I don't know how it became where it's demonized for a woman to be a woman. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to put all the blame on the women. There's some blame on the men as well. But it's just very interesting to see the statistics, the stats, and you start thinking about it and you start questioning things like, well, the boys do have almost 100% female influence in their life.
Right.
What if we brought that back down to 40, 60?
Yeah.
Like, you have these social justice warriors that love everything Black. Like I used to study African history. In African culture, right? When the child got to a certain age, they no longer were with the mothers, the aunts, the grandmas.
Yeah.
They literally sent the boy to the fathers, the grandfathers, the men. And the playtime is over. It's time to do what men do. Right. And sometimes the men would, it was like their rite of passage. They would send them out into the wilderness. And if they came back too soon, they knew that ain't the king.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of them would never come back because either they were killed or they started their own kingdom, or they'll come back with lion skin and a whole entire tribe for themselves. So they had their own ways of going about raising boys into men, using just the African culture, how it used to be back in the day, studying African history and how they went about it. Once the child reached a certain age, they went with the father. It's the same thing now.
Right.
I think when a boy especially reaches a certain age, he needs to be around his father.
Yeah.
It's important, man. So I'm not saying just because you didn't have a father, you can't become a good man and grow up to be a strong man. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am going to say is if you are that type of person, having a male role model, some type of male influence heavily in your life, it will make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And the thing about today's society, they downplay the need for that male influence, right? They think that boys, they don't need fathers. They think that boys should be just fine in a single mother household. And that's not the case. Like, people have to, I guess they get away from religion, they get away from God, and they think that they could just do whatever they want and everything is just going to turn out fine. But we were designed, like we were created a certain way for a reason. Like we were created as males and females coming together to make children and then actually raising those children together for a reason, right? We weren't created as humans to have a man come in and just plant his seed and then the man goes off and now the female has to raise the kid by herself. Like that's not how it works. So we have to stick with the design and stick with the way that things were supposed to be. And if we do that, then things turn out a lot better. And I'm not saying that, well, if you came up in a single parent household, then you're automatically doomed. No, but the mother is going to have to step up tremendously in order to pick up the slack for that father not being in the home. And it's not just about poverty. It's also about having a male there to kind of balance that kid out emotionally, right? Because if you have a male grows up with all this female energy, females, I say, I don't want anybody to get mad at me, but I'm about to say something, I'm about to keep it real with y'all. So
base.
Yeah, that's me. So females, biologically, like they are not, I guess, built like men to take on the responsibilities or the pressures of being responsible for an entire family. Because females in general, they like to deflect blame a lot of the time, right? Because they know that they always have some man to fall back on. The man is going to take responsibility for whatever happens in the household, because that's what men do. So females, they don't typically take on the responsibility whenever something happens. They're looking for somebody to kind of save them. And we've had it to where females, they rely on us for that as men. And I get it, because that's my job, right? I'm supposed to protect the females. That's what God created men for, to protect the females, protect the children. That's what we're here for. So females, it's not in their nature to kind of take up whenever or kind of take responsibility or accountability whenever something goes wrong. So these females are raising boys to be just like that. So when you see these boys coming up in these single mother household, yeah, they don't know how to take accountability. They're always looking for someone to deflect to. And that's something that their mothers taught them. When there's a man in the home, they teach boys how to take responsibility. They teach boys how to be accountable. And when boys are raised in two-parent households, they're more likely to be accountable. They're more likely to say, hey, this was my fault. I messed up. It was nobody else but me. When we have boys raised in these single mother households, then they're more likely to say, nope, that was the white man. It wasn't me. That's not my fault. So that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. And we have to kind of look at it as a society to say, this is why we need two parents in a household. This is why we need a male and a female raising children, girls and boys. So if we can just kind of look at it that way and understand, like, we are two different entities, males and females, we were made differently on purpose in order to instill different things into our children, because that's why we were put on this earth, right? To procreate, to make more humans. So we were made differently to instill different things in our children. So our children have balance, the balance of a male perspective and a female perspective. And that's what we need.
Yeah, right. I mean, but they're trying to change the definition of nuclear family. They're saying nuclear family is not male and a female. They're saying now it's female, female, male and male. Like I said, like you just said, it needs a balance of both energies, right? So they're trying to change the definition of nuclear family now. right? That's what they do. They keep moving the goalposts, inching away.
They're always changing definitions.
That's it. And so, like I studied the Black Lives Matter manifesto. They're what they stand for, and that's what they did. They kept changing the definition of traditional nuclear families. We want to destroy it. They were saying female is a nuclear family, male and male is a nuclear family, and no, a nuclear family is a male and a female as a unit in one household living together. Yep. So that's the way God created us. He intended it for us to be, like you said, to procreate. There's no other way to procreate. You need a man and you need a woman. So, and that's that, and that's it, and that's that. So, you know, our society is going in a downward spiral, man, and it's really sad to see. And which is even more why we should stand up and protect and fight for the value systems that we stand for. The value system that the country was built off of, which is Judeo value system.
Right.
We need to preserve that, right? We need to preserve that, which is why I'm conservative. I'm conservative because of those value systems, the principles, the values, the things that I stand for as a man, a single straight man, a man of God, right? So I'm always going to be in a fight against that evil. You know, I have nothing against those people that's what they're into. That's what you're into. That's what you're into. I don't hate you. I don't advocate anybody to go out and hate you as well or condemn you. You know, I guess where I see the societies go wrong is where they start coming after people's children, right? Yeah. Just like we know statistics on music and how it can influence teenagers and how they listen to these suicidal poetry with good beat music, how it influences them to misogyny, drug abuse, suicide, praising criminal activity, being a thug. These things influence people. I don't care what genre of music it is, it influences people. So if music can influence people, you trying to push it into our school systems and perpetuate it to our kids, it's going to influence them. Like it's like saying, I'm going to teach your kids about heroin, the drugs, opioids and heroin and crack cocaine. I'm going to teach your kids about that in your schools. And it's like, wait a minute. I don't know if I want my kids to be exposed to that.
Right.
You know what I mean? You expose somebody, you create the Curious George, and they know that. And that's why it's perpetuated so much on now cartoons, all in the movies, shows, anywhere on media and all over social media. So we are definitely in a spiritual warfare against good versus evil. This is becoming the devil's workshop, this country. The more and more it goes on. So it's important for people like us to continue to stand up and fight and use our voice to dismantle these things. So yeah, absolutely. And be unapologetic about it. I don't hate anybody.
Unapologetic and unafraid.
Yeah, I don't agree with your lifestyle. I don't hate you. I'm not a phobe for it. Right. I just don't agree with it. But don't attack me because I don't agree with it. You know what I mean? Right. So
yeah, I mean, and this is something new on society. Like it's not something that we had to deal with 20 years ago or even 10 years ago for that matter. So when you're trying, so when you're trying to force all these new definitions and these new words, you want to call us cisgender, cis hetero, I don't know what that is. Whatever that is. Yeah, y'all want to call us that, but you know, we can't have an opinion about what you're calling us. We can't have an opinion about what's going on in our society and what children are being taught. I mean, there are a lot of books out there that are just sick. I was at my hospital a month ago and I saw something. Thank God it was on a clearance rack, but it was a book for children. It was called My Two Dads. So it was a book about a gay couple raising a kid, and it's catered to children. So they want children to accept.
I wonder how that would work. I wonder how that works. You got two gay dudes that are doing their best to be as feminine as possible. Do the two gay dudes, are they able to push off masculine energy to the kid even though they're operating in a beta feminine way. You know what I mean? It's like doing a mental backflip in my head trying to figure out.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. I have no idea how the dynamic works, but I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe I have to ask one.
Yeah, for sure. I got plenty that I can ask.
Yeah. So while we're on the topic of kids, I wanted to get into our last topic, the school shooting.
Oh, which one?
The one in Arlington. The one in Arlington.
The mass shooting. The white boy that shot in the white boy that shot in Arlington, Texas.
No, not the white boy. No, not the white boy.
There was a white dude that just did a mass shooting in Arlington, Texas, and they were saying that the white people. Yeah, they said the white dude was being bullied. You talking about that shooting?
Yeah, but it wasn't a white boy.
Well, what
wasn't a white dude.
Wait a minute. I thought it was all white folks that do mass.
Yeah, only you're right. Not this
white folks do all the mass shootings. I thought so.
This one. So this was an African American.
It was a black dude.
African American, yes.
Are you kidding me?
Four people. Four people.
Isn't that interesting?
I know, isn't it?
But it's funny how the narrative changed to, it's an excuse. He was being bullied. He literally has people on life support.
Yes.
There's people fighting for their lives on life support right now.
Yep. It was excused because he was being bullied. He had a welcome home party. They threw him
He even got a bail.
When he bailed out, he
got a bail.
Out of jail. He bailed out of jail.
So hold on.
Craig, how many times have you seen a school shooter bail out of jail?
Dude, this is in this day and age. In this day and age, I know. This is what drives me absolutely up the wall when it comes to the Black KKK collective group thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not only their anti-white rhetoric, their selective outrage, but their hypocrisies. Yeah. Oh, well, he was being bullied.
Yeah.
He was being bullied. So, okay, now the message you're sending off, because you want to make an excuse for this situation because it goes completely against the narrative of only white folks do mass shooting. Now it's, he was being bullied. So the message you're giving out now is, it's okay if you're being bullied, you can go in there and shoot up the school. Yep. No, he committed a heinous crime.
Yep.
And especially if the people die, he needs to go to jail for the rest of his life, like anybody else. He took a life.
Yep. But they said,
I mean, it's crazy to me.
Bullied because he
was being bullied. Oliver, because he was being bullied, that gives him the right to shoot people, to go into the school with a gun that he's not registered to have. He's not allowed to have.
What did I talk about earlier?
But they need to keep charging. The parents need to get charged. How did he get the gun? It's the parents' fault, right?
But what did I talk about earlier about accountability, right? So these kids being raised by women, no accountability.
It looked like, but from the pictures, it looked like the dad is in the home. It looks like he grew up in a nice neighborhood.
I think he's raised. He's with his grandparents or something like that. I don't know if his grandmother or both grandparents, but I don't even know if he's with his mom. I think his mom's in the picture.
It don't matter who he's with.
Yeah.
It don't matter. He was being bullied. They don't realize the message that they send out through their outrage. He was being bullied. This is justifiable. No, it's not. You're sending out a message that if you're being bullied, it's okay to go into school and shoot up everybody. And no, it's not. That's wrong.
Now, this was over a fight. Right. This was over a fight, right? Did you used to get in fights at school, Craig?
I used to get jumped. Oliver, I used to get jumped at school. I got in many fights at school. Never in my life did I think to go up into the school and shoot up everybody up at the school. Right. That's ridiculous, man.
I didn't know.
He could have. They say he could have shot. He could have shot. Look, he said. They said he could have shot the teacher. He could have shot this person that was standing right there, but he shot all the people that were involved with bullying him. So the message you're saying is, if you're being bullied, it's okay to go in there and shoot up people. No, he committed a crime. He needs to go to jail.
Yep.
Look at the Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse was getting attacked.
Yep.
He had every right to have a gun.
And what was his bail, Craig?
I don't know all the details.
$2 million.
That's that black privilege that I'm talking about. That's black privilege. They say
you
white privilege, but it's black privilege. Black privilege.
That black privilege is strong, man.
The Kyle Rittenhouse clearly he was protecting himself.
Self-defense.
People were attacking. One guy had a firearm.
You know they saw the video.
They
saw the video. This is all political. That was all political.
Dude, they're gonna
punish the white man. That's what they're trying to do.
I bet you this boy, they're gonna find a way. Dude, it drives me up the wall with the black community sometimes. The rhetoric that they say, man. What's his name? Said that they were the girl that got kicked out from the Olympics. What's her name? The Richardson girl.
Yeah, Sha'Carri Richardson.
Shaquisha Richardson.
Sha'Carri
Richardson.
Sha'Carri
They
Richardson.
said, she knew the rules of the Olympics. You cannot be smoking weed. You test positive. You're gonna get booted.
Can't run. Yep.
She took responsibility.
Yep.
Said, yeah,
I commended her for that.
I commended her for it too. But it's obvious weed was more important than her career in running in the Olympics, which is a small opportunity for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But all I seen, the rhetoric from the collective groupthink, was excuses. Oh, well, she was smoking because she was suffering depression.
Yep.
She lost her mom. So through these cries of trying to defend bullshit that they know is wrong, they don't even realize they're sending out another message that destroys us more, which is adds on to the destructive culture that we already have. So you're saying because someone lost their mom or they're going through depression, it's okay to take drugs?
Right.
Is that what you're
saying? It's
saying?
okay to throw your opportunity away.
It's okay to cope. It's okay to cope with drugs if you're depressed or you lost somebody in your family. No, it's not. And this is the same thing with this school shooting. It doesn't go with the narrative that normally white folks do mass shootings. This was a black kid out of Arlington, Texas, regardless of, and nobody should be bullying anybody, right? But you don't go into no school.
But they said it wasn't bullying. They said it wasn't bullying. So they talked. We know we ain't get all the information yet. Yeah, well, I talked to some people who knew them, who knew the people at the school, and they said that this wasn't bullying. Like this was some street stuff.
He thought he was a daggone thug. He'd been listening to this suicidal poetry. Yep. He'd been listening to this suicidal poetry that I keep talking about that glorifies the lowest denominator in our community. All that thug life, stop snitching campaigns.
Yeah, gold teeth in his mouth.
Yeah, he live in a suburban area, driving a car, flashing guns in the picture. I seen it.
Yep.
But he was being bullied. So the message you're saying now
is they said, I was like, bullied. Knock it off.
Give me a break, man.
Bullied, knock it off.
Give me a break, man. These people are ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it's always excuse after excuse after excuse. I'm just so tired of it. We're not gonna change anything.
Oliver, I'm convinced you hate yourself. You don't like your people. Man, who's my people? My people are the American people. My people are God's children.
Yep. My people are American. I don't identify with the degeneracy. I'm sorry.
There's degeneracy in every shade. Every shade of color.
I don't identify with any of it.
If you're a degenerate, I probably don't want to be around you.
Yep.
There's some degenerates on the right. I'll be the first
to say that. You are 100% correct.
Dude, I've met degenerates that's on the right. But guess what? I've also met some degenerates on the left. Degenerates in the middle. So I don't associate with myself with degenerates. If I'm around somebody that's a degenerate, the moment that I find out that they're a degenerate, I begin to back away and put a peace, deuces. So that's crazy to me, man. That whole
it was pretty pathetic when I saw the family come out and they talked about he was being bullied and you have to have pretty much sympathy for him and all this stuff. Meanwhile,
but sympathy, the other I seen that post.
Meanwhile, the victim,
mom is crying.
Right, is in the hospital fighting for his life. And y'all talking about have sympathy for this boy. Like, what then they had a GoFundMe. They put up a GoFundMe for him. How you put up a GoFundMe for a shooter?
Let's hypothetically speak on this. What if it was
only in the black community?
No, check it out. Let's hypothetically speak. Now we're playing devil advocate here. We're playing devil's advocate.
Go ahead. Let's play devil's advocate.
What if it was a white boy that was being beat up by a bunch of black kids? He went in there and shot up the black kids. Is it because he was being bullied? Would the narrative still be the same, Oliver? If it was a white kid being bullied by a bunch of black kids, he went up in there and shot the kid.
They would have said,
this is white supremacy. let's look into the parents. The parents are cute. The parents are cute now. The parents,
they're Trump supporters.
They got Trump.
They got a Confederate flag.
This is white supremacy. Man, don't get me started on this shit, man. These people are ridiculous, man.
They had a Confederate flag in the background of a picture 15 years ago.
And then they showing up at the people's yard with megaphones and laser beams. And it's
Black Lives Matter flag.
They got to stop all this selective outrage, man.
We really do. I'm sick of it. I'm really sick of it,
man.
The whole Black Lives Matter movement is selective outrage because when they wanted to, back to the Dave Chappelle thing. So the producer of the show Dear White People, who is actually white and a transgender, right? So he wanted Dave Chappelle removed from Netflix. So the white transgender wants the black comedian removed from Netflix, and no Black Lives Matter, no anti-racist, no pro-black people come out to support Dave Chappelle. Interesting.
It is interesting. It is.
And then you think about, no, go ahead.
All of those organizations are part of the Democratic cabal anyway.
It is. That's all they care about. It's whatever the Democrat, their Democrat leadership tells them that they should care about. That's what they're going to care about. It's not about what's actually racist. It's not about what helps black people or what hurts black people. It's about what does the Democrat Party say we should be doing, say we should be outraged about. What are they telling us to do? Because we just listen to them. And that's all it is. You know what? You know Kyrie Irving, right? So
they canceled him.
Banned. Yeah. So he was banned.
You go, Joe. I can see Joe Biden now. If you don't get this shot, you ain't black. Dude, I can see it now. So basically, they bullied him into a corner. Well, you ain't playing until you get the saline up in your arm.
You're not playing. So it was that he wasn't going to play in any home games because he can't play in New York without the vaccine, but he can go to other states and play. But the team said, nah, if you can't play in home games, you can't play at all. You can't practice. You can't do anything. So now they just basically
they're gonna ban their franchise player.
Yep, so they're gonna ban their franchise player over the jab.
They're gonna leverage and use a black man, plaster him all over the media, another black man for the black community that we all know is 70% of them ain't go get the saline, the soy sauce in their arm.
Yeah.
So they're gonna try to make an example just in case anybody else want to
get out of line.
Any one of y'all want to get out of line, look what we doing he's a franchise player. We banned him. He can't play. That means he don't get paid. He's violating his contract.
Yeah.
But if I was him, I would go back and say, show me in the contract where it says I gotta take a saline Wuhan soy sauce shot in order for me to get paid.
Not there. It's not there. So back to the whole selective outrage thing. So if it was anything else, right, that disproportionately affects black people, they call it racist. Like voter ID, it disproportionately affects black people because black people, quote unquote, don't have access to IDs, which is a lie. But this shot, but this shot, the lowest percentage of any population getting the shot is black. So these vaccine mandates disproportionately affects black people, but there's only a few people that are standing up against it.
So let me ask you this. Maybe you might know, or maybe you can ask people that's gone and got the saline in their arm. Mm-hmm. When you show up to the CVS or the Walgreens or wherever you go, to wherever you go to get this free Wuhan soy sauce shot, do they require an ID to prove whoever you are? That's a good question.
I don't know.
Do you walk into a CVS and just say,
I don't know.
My name is Joe Biden. I want to get the free shot. Yeah. Or do they have to verify some way you're who you are? Or you just walk in there?
They probably do. I'm not sure.
So, I mean, these are the things that we got to look into.
Yeah.
Why on one flip side, they say something is racist, voter suppression, requiring an ID. But I'm pretty sure when you go to get the saline, when you go to the doctor's office, you got to provide some type of social security number.
Oh yeah, something. You gotta, your health benefits card, your ID. Every time I go to the doctor, I gotta give them my health insurance card and my ID.
But just even the whole voter ID thing is all BS because, like, we already know.
Yeah, we
You
know that.
have to have you gotta have an ID to do everything. Anyway.
Yeah, we
you
know why they
can't get a job. You can't get a job without an ID.
Can't get a job. Can't work at McDonald's, making $21 an hour.
I don't even think you can go to.
Wendy's.
I don't even think you can go to Amscot to cash a check without an ID.
No, you can't cash a check.
You gotta prove that you are who you are on the damn check, man. Come on, man.
Yep. They know what it is. We all know why they're trying to do that. But
just Democrat.
We can't speak about it on YouTube because they'll take the video down. So we all know what Joe Biden did. So, but anyway, all right, man. So I guess we'll shut it down here. But I want you to kind of give your last words and then tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, first and foremost, I appreciate you bringing me on the show. I'm sure I'll come on again. It's always a pleasure talking to you, Oliver, man. I love your content. Thanks everybody. Thank you everybody for watching the whole show all the way to the end. So I appreciate you. The way that you can find me, Instagram, it's real Craig Long 45. All other handles are Craig Long 45. I think my YouTube, I'm gonna start going on YouTube. It's the Craig Long 45 show. I may even change the name, but it's going to be around Craig Long 45. You're going to be able to find me across the board. My closing remarks is this. It's like, look, maybe you're not like me and Oliver or many of the other people that you support and follow, right? Because we appreciate every comment, every like, every share, everything that you do to support. When you go to our websites to buy a t-shirt or a hat, we appreciate it, right? You might not be like us, where you're very vocal. Maybe it's your job position. You don't want to put certain things in jeopardy. You have to move a certain way for whatever that reason is. Just know that people like me and Oliver and many others, we appreciate you for all your support. Even if you're an opposing view, we appreciate you tuning in. We love. I actually like when you guys comment on my stuff and with the dialogue. But just know that if you're not like us and you're not vocal and you don't have a strong stance and maybe you don't want to use your voice or speak out and you want to be involved or you want to figure out a way to get involved, there is many ways that you can get involved in this fight versus good versus evil. And the easiest way is starting with yourself, right? Be the example of what you want society to be, right? An upstanding person that lives off of principles and values, putting God first, right? Narrow that down, fine tune exactly what that is. Be that example, be that light that we need. But it starts right there with yourself and your family, if you have one. If you're single, you want to be looking for somebody that you can create a nuclear family. We don't need any more single family homes. We don't need any more kids out of wedlock. Do it right there with your family. Instill those value systems. Instill right from wrong. Instill the taking responsibility. How to lead. Hard work ethics. Right. Not blaming things from without, but going from within. Learning from your mistakes to get better, so that you can move out on your own right to make yourself more successful. And just in keeping those God values intact. Right. And amongst all the other values. So that. Starting with yourself at your own home and your own family is one way. There is a lot of local organizations and chapters that you can get involved in. You just have to, you can go on Facebook or you can Google. There's plenty. Everybody focuses on the president level, but we really need to be getting narrowed down into the local level of politics. Because the presidents can only do but so much. Your governors, your mayors, that's your local that's what I mean by local, like your superintendents and your school board stuff. Get involved in that. Be fine-tuned in what that is, because I think we really dropped the ball of being on the right side, being in the whether you consider yourself a conservative or Republican, whatever. We're dropping the ball when it comes to local politics. We need to go back to boots on the ground and getting more involved in that way. So there's many ways that you can support. Continue to do that. And hey, man, I hope to see you guys connect with me. Make sure you connect with Oliver as well. And again, thank you for letting me on the show, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. I mean, you're always on fire, always have great content. So thank you so much for being here. Guys, you can catch me on Instagram, follow at the Right Winged Angel. You can catch me on Facebook, same tag, just look up Right Winged Angel. You can catch me on Twitter, Oliver Mack, different other platforms. I also have a website. So go to www.rightwingedangel.com. That's where you can find my merch. This t-shirt right here is available there and all different other designs. I got the Let's Go Brandon t-shirt there. That one's pretty popular. So make sure you check that out. And guys, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. I am Oliver Mack, the Right Winged Angel, and catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Peace.